So far, we've seen examples that use both the while iteration statement and the for iteration statement. In this example, we're going to take a look at the do while iteration statement. Now, the do while statement differs from the while and the for statements in that its body is guaranteed to execute at least once because the condition that determines whether to keep iterating is positioned at the end of the loop as opposed to the while and for, which position that loop continuation condition at the beginning of the loop. So with a while and a for, if the condition that's declared in each of those statements is false upon entering the loop for the first time, the body will never execute. So while and for execute their bodies 0 or more times, and the do while executes its body 1 or more times. So if I go ahead and run this program, you can see we're simply once again counting from 1 to 10 and displaying the values. And this, of course, is a counter-controlled iteration example. However, it's also possible to use a do while loop for sentinel controlled repetition as well. So here at line 9, we begin by declaring our counter variable and initializing it to 1. The do while loop's syntax starts with the do keyword, followed by a body, which, if it has only one statement, is not required to be placed in curly braces, but as a good practice always should be. And then the closing curly brace, or the after the body, you have the while keyword, followed by a condition in required parentheses and a required semicolon to terminate that repetition statement. And that's partially to help distinguish do while from a regular while statement. So in this do while, the first thing we're going to do before we ever test the condition is to display the value of counter. So initially that, of course, will be 1. Then we're going to add 1 to the counter, which will make it 2. And by the time we get to the point of testing this condition for the first time, we've already displayed the first value and incremented the counter. So now counter's value will be 2, which of course is still less than or equal to 10, at which point we'll come back around to the top of the loop, output the value of counter, which is 2, increment the counter to 3, and then test the loop continuation condition again. And just like the similar examples in this lesson for counting from 1 through 10, when counter eventually becomes 11, this loop will terminate, at which point we will output a new line and terminate the application.